TunePocket.com. TunePocket.com.
Welcome to the Sean Ferrell Podcast. I am here with a very, very special guest, Miss Emily Berry. Is on the Sean Ferrell Podcast today. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And we're not going to waste no whole time with any gibberish. We're going to get right into it, and we're going to get it rolling. Now, Emily lost her son to a suicide, Joey. She's gonna tell her story, but I'm just gonna start with. I'm not gonna go too deep into my story, or I hope I don't go too long. But if you saw the video of me at the walk in Memphis, there was only a certain number of, there was only a limited amount of time we could tell our story. So basically we had to do the cliff notes, everyone who stood up there and spoke their story. And like I said, I had two childhood traumas while in like a 5-year span,
Yeah, you talked about that.
I was hit by a car in the summer of either 94 or 95.
Oh, wow.
And the second one was just as bad, if not worse. I flipped my bike.
Wow.
I was actually going down a trail, and
So how old were you at this time?
I was 14 years old, and I was a freshman in high school, and that happened on the third day of school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was after school. Yeah, that happened on the third day of my freshman year in high school. And so I was coming towards I was riding my bike, must have been riding at a high speed, and I looked down for about 2 seconds. And all of a sudden I realized I was coming towards the tree. And like the tree is like right in the middle, right in the middle of the trail. And if I choose to run into the tree, I can be slightly injured. And just have probably minor cuts and bruises or something like that. But if I choose to want to avoid the tree, I have that option too. So
Wow.
I chose to avoid the tree altogether. So I just pulled on my brakes. Mm-hmm. The back tire, I believe the front tire stopped, causing the back tire to flip, causing the back tire to and with the back tire lifted off the ground, it flipped me.
Wow.
And I landed head first.
You have to make so many decisions so quickly.
And I landed head first, and when I hit the ground, I immediately blacked out. It was like I flipped my bike, blacked out, just like that. And I'll get into that in a second. But I was bullied. I had a stutter problem, which I still do have to this very day. I don't remember too much about childhood. I have some bits and pieces of it that I remember. But
Well, you mentioned at the walk, you said you had a bike wreck.
Yes.
And that's when you were really bullied.
No. That wasn't when I was bullied.
Okay.
What happened was I had a speech problem.
Okay.
And I was regularly talked about. A friend from childhood actually remembers it. I don't remember it, but she seems to remember everything that they said about me. Like I said, I don't remember a lot about childhood, but she seems to remember that. And she wrote me a letter about 2 years ago.
That's interesting. So you're going to read that letter. Okay. That's to be interesting to see how she remembered this. And how it impacted her.
Yeah. It says, Sean, I have been balding your... Sean, I have been on your channel bawling my eyes out. I didn't know how bullying affected kids until I became an adult. We lived in a neighborhood full of bullies and you were next door to the main ones. I feel somewhat responsible because I did not apologize or stop them. I want to apologize with my whole heart for not helping. I promise if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have allowed it to happen around me. My children have been suspended for helping their friends that were being bullied. I know how serious it is, and now watching you abdicate has blessed my spirit. Praise God. But I feel so bad because I didn't help you for years. I pray you accept my apologies, please. I am very proud of you for speaking out. Our culture hides behind, well, I can't read that. Well, there's an error right there.
My phone does that too.
There's an error right there.
Yeah.
But our culture hides behind the word that I can't see on suicidal thoughts because we are taught not to share anything that goes on in the home, which is why Black kids shut down. I am so glad that you have the support from people that can help your story as well. Also now, you have me. We may not be close, but know I'll always listen and help do whatever I can without judgment. Thank you for sharing your story because I never knew how toxic that environment was for you. Keep spreading the word. And
that is awesome that she, it impacted her so much and she still felt bad about it that many years later. So how long was it that you got that letter?
I want to say it was around 2 years ago.
Wow.
One or 2 years ago. And I accepted her apology without hesitation. Because
it takes a big person to apologize. Yeah. It really does. And sometimes, even if it's way after the fact, it means something. It means it still affected you. And this person feels bad they didn't speak up. They finally do. It's never too late to apologize.
Yeah. I really don't remember being bullied in elementary school. That was more of happy years.
Yeah.
That was more, that was really some happy years. As a matter of fact, I went to the playground where my old school was at, and they actually took out the playground. So the playground's not there anymore.
Oh, wow.
They actually took out the playground where we had so many memories.
Wow.
But for some odd reason, that basketball court that has no goals attached to it is still sitting there.
Oh, wow.
So you can take out the playground, but you can't take out the basketball court. But anyway. I
tell you, I was at that walk and I had no plans to share what happened to me, but I saw you speak and I just broke into tears. I couldn't stop. and you were so powerful when you got up there, and everything you said. I mean, you said I was bullied, and then you said I would have told my friends, but I didn't have a friend. And I just went, oh my gosh, you know, this is horrible. You didn't even have anybody to tell. And like, why? Why did that happen to you? Why are people mean? Why do people want to bully each other? Why you?
That beats me. That beats me. You know, at the walk, I mentioned that I had my short shorts pulled down.
Yeah.
I was when I was getting off the bus, the kids would always stick their legs out, making it difficult for me to get off, and they did that virtually every day. And one day I decided I wasn't going to take it anymore, and I tried to force my way through. Force my way through, and in the process of forcing my way through, somebody pulled my shorts down, and the whole bus just erupted in laughter, and
they have no idea what you went through during that as a result of that. And the aftermath of that for you.
I actually tried to miss the bus for the rest of the year. I tried to miss the bus for the rest of the year. Whether it was riding in the morning or especially in the afternoon going home. I did everything I could to miss the bus.
And that makes sense. And you probably didn't have, that was probably a big deal to miss the bus. How do you get to school if you don't ride the bus?
Right.
What are you putting, everybody through?
Right.
Mom, dad, how are you getting to school? Because they've got stuff going on.
And so that was humiliating. I remember I held my tears back just long enough. Then when I made it off of the bus, that's when everything came out. And I cried walking home. And like I said, I tried everything I could to miss the bus for the rest of the year. And fast forward to my freshman year of high school. I already talked about the bike accident.
Yeah.
I knew when I returned from school, or returned her to school, because I missed like a week. I think I missed a week. Yeah, I think I missed a week because I had so many doctor's appointments, dental appointments.
Oh, bad.
So I missed like a week while I healed. And so when I got back to school, when I was healed and ready to go back, I sort of knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. And
that must have been so hard to.
It was in the back of my mind.
Back. And I'm sure you were dreading it every hour of the day before you got there.
It was, so when I returned to school, I knew exactly what was coming. I knew what was coming. I knew it. But in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, maybe if I just tell them what happened and how it happened, maybe they would be somewhat sympathetic. Needless to say, it doesn't work that way, especially in high school. The only ones who were sympathetic were the teachers.
Yeah.
So to speak, they were the only ones who were sympathetic, and when I returned to school, the jokes came. And I heard it as a freshman. I heard it as a sophomore. I heard it as a junior. I heard it as a senior. The worst name I was called was OG. Okay.
OG,
yeah. Take a while, I guess, what that means.
Is it original?
For me, for you said
original gangster.
That's what you think. But in my case, since I had no teeth, OG meant old grandpa. That's what I was called. That's what I was called to everybody. That's what I was called.
And you had no teeth because you're in this.
Actually, I didn't have teeth right here. I always didn't have my two front teeth, so these were the teeth that were missing. Yeah, my two front teeth, those were the ones that were missing. But I was called old grandpa, and I heard it. Like I said, I heard it all throughout high school. And when I graduated, I was angry. I was bitter.
Yeah.
Over what had happened. And there came the anger issues. There came the it was just primarily angry issues towards co-workers, angry issues towards my family.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have angry issue towards friends because I really had no pool of friends. So
all through high school, you didn't have a good friend.
I had friends, but I didn't have friends who I could come to.
Right.
I don't think I really had friends who I could come to. Okay. Yeah. I would say that. If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
And that high school is so hard. And all this, the peer pressure of fitting in. And I struggled in high school a lot.
I actually didn't try. I never really tried. I never really tried to fit in high school. I was just a regular run-of-the-mill student.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just a regular run-of-the-mill student at Germantown High School who was playing Bartlett tonight. But back to the main point. Back to the main point.
Germantown's gonna win.
Yeah, because I think we're 11-0 right now.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
So anyway, but I really didn't have anybody who I could really come, or a friend that I could really come to. I did go to a few teachers, so I did go to a few teachers.
How did the teachers respond?
I told them that there were some people who were picking on me, and I said there were some people that were picking on me, and I don't think anything was done about it. I don't think anything was truly done about it. But anger issues led to depression. Depression led to me just sleeping all weekend. When I say sleeping all weekend, my main routine during the week was just go to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sleep all weekend.
So when you say sleep all weekend, like, did you go to sleep and wake for a few hours and wake up, or did you just want to be in the darkness? Because Joey did that. He would just want to sleep in a dark room.
Because I worked at nights. I worked nights. And I worked nights at FedEx, and I would come home around 3-4 a.m. and then I would just sleep until about 3-4 during the day. Mm-hmm. Then I would be up for a few hours and then go to work, go home, sleep. So that was pretty much my routine. Just go to work and go to work and sleep. And it was around the age of 21 where I decided to get help. I decided to get help for myself. I had never heard the word stigma before. In my early 20s, I never heard that word. I didn't know what it was. All I know is when I got into counseling, I kept it hidden from my family.
Yeah.
I kept it hidden from my family because I didn't want them knowing that they were in that their son was in counseling.
Yeah, and I remember that too. You feel like someone goes to counseling because something's wrong, and I've done a lot of therapy, and it's helped me tremendously, and I will continue to go to therapy for the rest of my life because it helps to talk things out. But there is a stigma. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you going to a therapist? Well, I'm trying to work it out. I need it. It helps to talk about it.
Yeah.
We don't talk enough about our problems.
Yeah.
It's bad because you feel embarrassed to go.
Yeah. I would say one of the things that has helped me is the therapy, but for a couple of years I never really opened up in therapy. Just about how I feel. Then I just really opened up about how I felt, and it has been a big help. It's like Cayman said, the first lady who spoke. Yeah. It's like Cayman said, she's been seeing a therapist for 6 years. I've been in therapy since my early 20s, and I turn 38 next week. And so I'm still building therapy.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'll tell you, I love therapy because you get to go in and process your thoughts and bounce ideas and things. You know, I thought this, why? And it's just one-on-one with somebody. You're really working on yourself when you do therapy. And I think that's the big confusion. People think, oh, something's wrong. Well, okay, I'm just trying to figure out life. Let's talk it out. But I had to go to therapy. I was so distraught. I was going twice a day after Joey passed. Hours. You know, I didn't go for 45 minutes. I had a therapist, and I'm lucky. He sat with me for 4 hours. We took a couple of breaks, but I just said, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And I can't do this 45 minutes. You know, I got to figure this out. I'm here until you. And I had a wonderful therapist, and I called him the day Joey passed in the hospital. He was in the hospital for a shoulder surgery, and I said, what happened? You know, and he's going, you got to tell me what happened. I'm in the hospital, and you know, and bless his heart, he said, you know, we'll talk about this. What do we need to do for you right this minute, Emily? And I said, I don't know. They're talking about having a funeral for my son, and I don't want a funeral. I don't want to deal with this. I want my kid. And for me to have to process that my son was here, we were in our home. He took his life in our home. And I'm sitting in the dining room, and his room was above it. I'm going, he's up there. What's going on? Like, I could not process the fact that my son was in that home, you know, not even 16 hours ago, and now it's gone, and now we're going to talk about a funeral. It was too much. Too much.
Yeah. The first time that I thought about suicide, well, actually, there was a guy I went to high school with. He ended his life by suicide.
Suicide.
Yeah. I believe I saw him like a few months earlier. Saw him like a few months earlier. Then I heard he took his life. I believe there was another kid at Germantown High School. If I'm correct, correct.
And you graduated in what year?
2004.
2004. Okay.
If I'm correct, after I graduated, I think there was a kid who went to Germantown High School who hung himself. If I am correct, I may not be, but if it's correct, there's a kid who went to Germantown High School who hanged himself. But the first time that I ever thought about suicide was, it was around age 20 and 2021. And I had a conversation with my dad about me getting out of the house because I was viewed as a 21-year-old man still living with his parents. Okay. And so
this would have been about 2007?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, yeah. And so,
and that's hard because you're supposed to get out. I mean, there's that old get out, make it on your own. But it's
when you're 18, you're out the door sort of philosophy. But we had a conversation about that, and after that, I quickly thought about suicide, and I had it in my mind that I would write a suicide note to my mom and dad. And it would say, you wanted me out of the house. Now I'm out of the house. That was my suicide note. I still remember that. That was my suicide note.
Wow.
That was my suicide.
So you thought about it enough to write a note, and then did you think about
I dreamed about it.
How you were going to do it?
I dreamed about it, yes. I dreamed about it.
How often did you think about it?
Often.
Wow.
Often. Not every day, but often. And
did you look for? How did you feel about doing it? I just often wonder, like, what Joey was thinking, because it's so painful to me to go, what was he thinking before? Mm-hmm. And I just get tangled up on all these thoughts.
I think it was a combination of being bitter about what happened to me in high school. I think it was a combination of that. And me feeling pressure to move out of his parents' house because my oldest brother would, my oldest brother, whenever he would come over and visit, he would constantly say, Dad wants you out of the house. And in my mind, I'm like, yes, I know.
That's tough too.
I lost my train of thought.
Your brother wanted you out.
I lost my train of thought.
But we're talking about how often did you think about that?
Yeah.
Because I went to a meeting. I was urged to go to. It was a meeting where people were wanting to take their lives, and these people were all struggling with suicidal thoughts, really, really bad. And one person said, "I think about it every 30 seconds."
Yeah.
And I mean,
every 40 seconds, someone.
Wow.
Every 40 seconds, somebody ends their life. Yeah. Every 40 seconds. Yeah. Every 40 seconds. And so that was when I first thought about suicide. And I was miserably depressed, and I know Kane spoke about she tried to cope with it in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
I tried to cope through I was trying to cope with it through pornography, strip clubs, and materialism.
Materialism, something to make you just feel better about yourself.
Yeah, and it's just continued and continued and continued. And this led to relationship failures. This led to impulsive decisions that I made.
Yeah.
The 2012 from hell. I've actually made a video about that.
So what happened in 2012?
2012 was a year that was probably one of the worst years that I've ever gone through. Because...
And what grade were you in?
I was actually long graduated.
Okay.
I was long graduated.
So what all happened in 2012 that made it the year from hell? Because it's interesting, like you zero in on that year, so that must have been a bad year.
It actually was set up 2 years earlier in 2010, when I had my first girlfriend, and didn't know the first thing about being in a relationship, and I had a saying at the time. I was used to being single, but I was tired of being single.
Yeah.
But I was used to it.
Yeah.
That was the saying I had. I was tired of being single, but I was used to it. And I think I just got a little bit desperate. I think I just got desperate. So desperate to be in a relationship. And moved too fast. And my first relationship ended within a year. And it was one of the most disastrous relationships I've ever had. But I also learned a lot from that. And so the working environment at FedEx was large. It was a worldwide hub. And a lot more people worked out there at night. I worked nights because when you work nights, you had those automatic weekends off.
Okay.
You got the automatic weekends off, but you didn't have automatic weekends off on days. So a lot of people work nights. And I said that I had tolerated that environment for the past 7 years. Since I started there in 2004, I had tolerated that environment, and my anxiety was getting really bad. And so much so that I felt like it kind of felt like sharp thorns were hugging my body. And I was wondering what that was. Turned out it was a combination of, what do they call it? It was anxiety. I think it was a little bit of social anxiety disorder. Mm-hmm. Sensory overload.
Sensory overload, yes. Yes.
I think it was more sensory overload. And
yes.
It just got to the point where I was in a quiet panic inside when I got to work. Because I heard this from Jessica, who was with me on the council.
Uh-huh.
She said, Sean, when I met you last year at the walk, I never knew you were going through that. We hid it so you hit it so well. And I just hit it so well. I was panicking on the inside whenever I had to come into that large environment. I was panicking, but you couldn't tell.
How did you control that?
I don't think I controlled it. I think when I got into my work, I think it kind of, when I got into my work, it kind of, I would say subsided because I was so into my work.
Yeah.
That you really don't know that. And,
it's lucky you had that.
And,
to give you a break from that.
And I was, so that became too much for me. That large working environment became too much for me, and I left. And I don't regret leaving. I don't regret leaving for headaches. The way I went about it, yeah, I kind of regret it. But the 2012 from hell, I stopped going to counseling because I thought I was good. I left both of my high jobs for a worse one. And when I left counseling, I thought I was good. Okay. I was making progress. I was starting to feel better. And I thought, okay, I feel a little bit better now. I'm good. And for like a couple of months, I was good. And then it came back. Wow. It came back stronger than ever.
Wow.
It came back stronger than ever. And
so what did you do to try to cope with that? I mean, that's hard when it comes back stronger than it was before, and you needed therapy first time, and then
you asked how did I cope?
Yeah, how did you cope?
I really didn't. I just lived with that dark feeling. I just lived with it. It got so bad to the point that I could barely even make it through an hour of work.
Wow.
I could barely make it through an hour of work, and I often, if I'm completely honest, I said this in one of my videos. I said, if I'm completely honest, if I could go back in time, in 2012, I would probably attempt to end my life. And that is that's probably the most heartbreaking thing for people to hear.
Yeah.
But it was just that bad. It was just that bad, and I'm still hoping for it, even today in 2023. And
I remember you saying this at the walk, and I remember you said an attempt, or you made reference to still being here, and thought, wow. I mean, you were so powerful when you got up there and told your story. And
I do continue to have my struggles today. And it was around 2017, 2018 that I started getting involved with AFSP. And started learning more about what they do. It was around that time that I also started volunteering at the Memphis
Crisis Center. Yes.
And I've been volunteering ever since. And like I said at the walk, I still have my days.
I don't think that's natural. I mean, you can't be completely healed. And we were talking about that earlier, maybe before we started the video. I mean, you're just, you're always going to need support.
You're right.
And this is
and see, that's the thing
right
like this. And see, that's the thing right there. The support system that I have, as opposed, when I was younger, the support system I had was basically me and my counselor. That was it. It was just me and my counselor. That was it. That was my support system.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm gonna have to
Katie mentioned something it came into something that she said if you don't know what to do, just pray. Just pray and seek God. And that's true. That's true. And
so were you seeking God before? Was prayer part of your normal daily action plan, or but you said that's when you started?
I gotta be honest, it was not. But I did. But I was praying at the end of every day, but I didn't necessarily pray about my depression.
I'm gonna have to turn the heat up.
So
heat's not on.
Ever since we started talking, my mind is on this conversation, so I don't even feel cold.
It's cold in here.
So I don't even feel cold, y'all. I don't even feel cold.
It's cold, but we're making it. That's so much. I mean, just to go through what you were talking about on the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, that really, you started out with that in your story in Memphis, and I was just like, wow. It's been through so much, and you're still here. Yeah. And then you attempted, what age did you attempt to take your life?
I don't remember, but...
Did you have a plan? You said you talked about writing a note.
I did not have a plan when I attempted. That was when I just thought about it.
Okay.
But I did have a plan when I attempted. I actually self-harm as a alternative. Yeah, I self-harm as an alternative, and I talked to one of the young ladies who was at the walk, and she showed me her scars from her stomach, and I showed her my scars on my wrist. They're all badly faded. They've all faded, and nobody can see them, but I can still see him. I can still see him very clearly. And I use self-harm as a alternative to suicide. And I do remember I'm not going to get into the methods, but I did do something at my wrist, and I caught myself and I stopped.
Good.
I caught myself and I stopped. And
did something trigger you to stop? I mean, why did you stop? Because when I hear about self-harm, I'm like, I'm scared of going to the doctor and getting a flu shot.
Yeah.
So the thought of, cutting yourself on the wrist scares me to death. I just can't even look at a knife or anything. So.
Well, actually.
But you get.
See, here's the thing about it. Whenever I see one of those sharp pointed knives at a restaurant, I cringe a little bit. I cringe a little. I cringe a little bit because it was one of those sharp knives that I used. It's one of those sharp knives I used on my wrist, not only for self-harm, but for suicidal purposes as well. And I remember asking one of I remember asking my good friend in Asheville, Brenda Williams Stehenbo, who lost her ex-husband to suicide. We were having this conversation one day, and I asked her, I said, do you believe that a suicide attempt is an attempt despite how futile it is? And she said yes. An attempt is an attempt. It doesn't matter how futile it is. So So yeah. So
I'm just glad you did not go through with it.
And I mentioned towards the end that philosophy that was tested.
Yeah.
That was tested just last year.
I watched a podcast when you talked about that.
Yeah. There was this lady who claimed she loved Jesus Christ, and she used God and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to scam me out of thousands of dollars, and I really felt like a fool.
Yeah.
I felt embarrassed. I couldn't think about nothing but taking my life.
Man.
And add on to the fact that I really struggle with the fact that I'm still living with my parents, okay? And it makes me feel less of a man when a 37-year-old man is still living with his parents because of the decisions I made, which goes back to the 2012 from hell. And it makes me feel less of a man, and I wanted to end my life because of that as well, because living with my parents makes me feel less of a man, and it's impacted potential relationships as well.
Yeah, I can see
it
that.
hasn't impacted friendships, but it has impacted potential relationships as well. And the fact that it makes me feel less of a man. Sometimes I just want to end my life because I just feel less of a man living with his parents. And my mom tried to reassure me that no, you're not less of a man.
Right.
Like,
right.
Well, I certainly feel that way, and it's hard, and I'm working to look at it from a different perspective. But
I can't imagine, like, whenever, if you probably don't want to talk about that when you meet people, they say, "Where do you live?"
I tell them that up front. Some have said they don't have a problem with it. Others, when I tell them that, they immediately ghost me. When I tell other women that, they immediately ghost me. So that definitely impacts me. Yeah.
I bet. I can't imagine that, because I moved out when I was 18, and I never really came back to my parents' house.
Yeah.
So, which was the goal.
Yeah.
But that's not today.
Yeah.
Because it costs so much to live.
Yeah.
And to live by yourself. And how often are you home? I mean, sometimes I thought I just need a place to sleep and eat before I go to bed.
Actually, to tell you the truth, since I'm working 2 jobs, which is gonna stop soon.
Yeah, you're saying it's stopping soon.
Most of my time, I really don't spend much time at home outside of the weekends, because I'm gone at work for about 12 hours a day. Wow. And I might spend another hour after work lifting weights.
Yeah.
So, and then when I get home, I immediately go through my routine and go to bed. So then I'm back up.
But does living with your parents help you? I mean, just the interaction and stuff? I know you don't like the appearance of, hey, I live with mom and dad, but you're not home much. You're going to the gym, and you just got to wonder, I mean, these people that do live alone, that's got to be tough. You got to pursue to get out of your house, because people aren't going to come to you. I mean, sometimes, but you know. Yeah.
I think I was headed towards that. But when I got scammed out of thousands of dollars.
That
that blew up, that really blew up, and now I'm back to pretty much square one because of the financial shithole that I'm in right now. And I pray every day. I pray every day that situation can be turned around. I pray every day. I still believe even in a God that'll happen.
I'll pray for you too, because you're so. You've been through so much. It just I looked at you when you were giving that speech, and I said, "This is not fair. Mm-hmm. Why did this Sean Ferrell get this?
Well,
what? Why? Why you?"
Well, I was asking myself that when I knew in the back of my mind, this is one woman that's scamming me. I knew that. I had that in the back of my mind the whole time.
Yeah.
But I foolishly and idiotically believed that we were meant to be together, and she kept using God to get more and more out.
Did she do it over like a social media site?
Yes, she did.
There's so many of those people.
We met on Instagram. Okay, we met on Instagram, and she said, "Let's switch to Google Chat," and that's how everything went down.
Why do they make you switch to Google Chat?
Because.
And can they get information from Google Chat?
If you send it to them, yes.
If you send it to them, okay. Yes. So they're trying to get you to send them something from Google
Absolutely.
Chat.
No, yeah.
So if you're on social media and someone says, "Hey, let's Google Chat," that's a red flag.
Yes, it is.
I didn't know that. I just wondered.
Yes, it is. I know that now. Yes.
So if you're on Google Chat, it's no good.
Pretty much.
So can they get into your bank account, or you have to give them that information?
If you send it to them, which I did.
Oh. Mm-hmm. But I can see.
Mm-hmm. I did, and yeah, I did. It was tough.
So,
yeah.
Did you initially send like a small amount of money, or did you do?
I did a small
amount.
And
so she asked for more money?
Yeah, she did.
And did you chat with her about other stuff other than the money?
Yep.
Okay. So she felt like a friend.
I thought she was my girlfriend.
I got you.
Yeah. I thought she was my girlfriend.
And you know what's sick is I'm sure she made you feel like you were.
She did, yeah. Turns out the whole time it was a romantic scam. And
there's so many of those out there.
And it didn't hit me until after Halloween. And it didn't hit me till after Halloween when I asked family and friends, and they were like, "Yeah, definitely a scam. Cut her off." Yeah, definitely.
So how often were you sending her money?
Often. Often, yeah. Often.
So she got thousands of dollars.
She got thousands.
How did you cut it off?
Well, after talking with my dad, after talking with friends, because we were still communicating through Google Chat.
Did you ever talk to her on the phone?
No.
So it's all through Google Chat?
All through Google Chat. What I did was I just deleted the chat app. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, I deleted it. Yeah, I deleted a chat app, and that was it.
Wow.
And she got desperate. She got desperate. She tried threats. Didn't work. She tried being nice. That didn't work. And while I was at the walk last year,
And that would have been right before Halloween.
Yeah. When I was at the Memphis walk last year, I was having such a blast because I really felt the warmth.
Yeah.
The togetherness, the fellowship of the walkers.
Yeah.
And so I was having a blast. And I was having the time of my life. And I told the walk committee in Memphis, I told them this. I said 50% was having the time of my life, and the other 50% was like I wasn't
shutting off. Or you weren't there
because of what this lady was asking, and that carried over into the Nashville walk I went to last year. I went to the Nashville walk. We were still talking, and
But this scam you're talking about, it's very popular. I've heard of people doing this, and they end up on Google Chat, and then somehow they get access to money from you through your computer.
Yeah, my counselor, I'm seeing you now. She was a victim. Yeah.
I would like to see harsher crimes for them.
So when everything was over, I had to change carriers, had to change banks, had to change my number.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, those 5 minutes I stood up there, this is the whole story behind that.
Okay.
So this is the whole story behind that. So
I may have to get a coat for this. I'm cold.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back on this very special edition of the Sean Ferrell Podcast. Let's take a break, and we will be right back.